Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal, and our winger search is still on, very alive. Now, according to Code Offside, they're saying Arsenal are very close to agreeing a deal with Villareal for Yeremi Pino, 19 years of age, another exciting prospect, but not one that I really think Arsenal need. We'll be diving into the latest around the club as well, including a couple of outgoings. Now, a Turkish side has also agreed to sign Alexander Runarsson on a permanent deal. We'll be diving into that. We'll talk about Real Betis, who are very close to signing Hector Bellerin on a free deal. The representatives of Hector Bellerin have been in London to agree with Arsenal to let him go either on a very small fee or on a free deal. And of course, we'll talk about the likes of Lucas Torreira, who have also left Arsenal Football Club on a permanent deal. Hit the like button for me, subscribe to the podcast as well. We are very close to 57,000 subscribers, and you guys have actually done it. It's not me, it's you guys, and let's continue growing together. Now, let's start off with Yeremi Pino. Of course, we know Arsenal need a winger, and it's no longer a fact to hide. We want one. According to various outlets, we want to sign a new winger and a new central midfielder before the window closes. But Yeremi Pino is the name that we've actually not been linked with before. He's been very, very active. His name has been very active in the last 48 hours, being linked with Arsenal and Liverpool. Now, according to the initial reports that actually came out, Liverpool and Arsenal both sent in 40 million euro bids to Villareal, but Villareal did not respond. Now, it is also claimed by Court Offside now that Arsenal sent in another bid in the region of around 45 million euros. But this is all speculative. So this is what they've written. They're saying Arsenal close to landing Villareal winger Yeremi Pino in a bid that could reach 33 million pounds, with Ghana's boss Mikel Arteta set to bring in competition for youngster Bukayo Saka by taking advantage of the Yellow Submarine's poor financial situation. Arteta has made no secret of his intentions to bring in a right winger in the transfer summer after registering his interest in former Leeds star Rafinha before his move to Barcelona in July. With Saka's current competition comprising of Flop, Nicolas Pepe, and youngster Reece Nelson, Arteta is looking to buy better quality in order to push Saka to better levels and adequately replace him when he needs some rest. So that's according to Court Offside. I mean, they make a huge. I think that the argument is absolutely true, and it makes a lot of sense. You want someone to replace Saka when he's out of the squad, and you want some competition for Bukayo Saka, quality competition. But then that is where Yeremi Pino for me doesn't tick the boxes. And before we get into this, I would like you guys to get involved in the comment section below and talk to me about Yeremi Pino. Is he a guy that you feel, because he's a very, very young lad, and we cannot really judge him, this early. So is he one that you feel 19 years of age should come in and just be that other person, other player to Bukayo Saka, probably kind of push him? Or do you want someone who's a little bit more experienced in the position and someone who's going to be challenging Saka rather than sitting around to learn from Bukayo Saka? Now, I don't have a problem with Yeremi Pino. I think he's a very, very talented young Spanish player. But in what Arsenal looking for, I don't think he is the guy. And look, I hope I'm wrong about this. If Arsenal sign him, I hope I'm actually wrong about him. But born in 2002, that is 19 years of age. He's barely played any minutes, any football. Actually, in his career, just like you see here on your screen, he's played a total of 77 games in his life. That is 55 in the Spanish La Liga, 9 that is in the Europa League, 7 in the Champions League, and 5 games in the Copa del Rey. So 77 games, 14 goals and 5 assists. Last campaign was his biggest. I think you would call it a breakthrough campaign, because he played over 31 games for Villareal. it just doesn't sit well with me. The idea of Arsenal going for Yeremi Pino doesn't sit well with me. And it's not because he's not talented. It's not because he's not the player we need. Actually, I think in terms of being comfortable on the right and also on the left, he's a player that Arsenal absolutely would love signing. But this is where my problem is. If we bring him in, 19 years of age, he doesn't bring in quality competition to Bukayo Saka. Let's be honest, with Martinelli, Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka as the wide forwards we have in the side, you need something different. And this, I think the club is right. Going to Villareal is absolutely right, but we've gone with we've gone for the wrong player. It's literally going into going into the right destination, but for the wrong reasons, and that's what we've done. We've entered the most attractive lounge, and we've gone there to pick up a fight, and literally not to have a drink. So with Villareal, they are the right destination. If anyone wants a winger, they are the club. But it's not Yeremi Pino. He needs more time to develop in the Spanish La Liga for me. He needs more time to prove the kind of player, the kind of prospect he's going to be. He needs more time to, work on that product. And I think, he needs a lot of work. And Villareal can't do that. So for me, Anaut Danjuma is the player Arsenal should be going for. Because look, to be honest, Danjuma has had that kind of experience. He's now 25 years of age. Last campaign, 23 appearances for Villareal and 13 goal involvements. He's the guy. He's the player Arsenal should be thinking about, not Yeremi Pino. I think Pino is okay, but we need something different. You need some kind of experience, in this squad, and we've already talked about it. Arsenal will want decision makers at some point in time. Arsenal will need players that are going to take hard decisions, and Arsenal will need players with character. And that character in football, we've seen, is built over time. It's built, as you enter the 25s, 26, 27, you start developing that character. And I think Anaut Danjuma, quality, the age bracket is that. So, is the player we go for? Is the player I suggest we go for, but not actually Yeremi Pino. Not bad, but if I compare him to Cody Gakpo, if I compared him to Moussa Diaby, if I compared him to Pedro Neto, he's not the player that I would suggest happily that Arsenal should sign him. Not really. Honestly, I think in terms of the pecking order, he is way below in the ranking tier. He's absolutely below Moussa Diaby. Diaby is 23, had a very exciting campaign for Bayer Leverkusen. If you're telling me that Yeremi Pino comes ahead of Diaby, and you're talking about quality competition for Bukayo Saka, I absolutely do not agree with that. And also, let's think about the fact that right about now, Arsenal is thinking about challenging for silverware. So, Moussa Diaby, Cody Gakpo, Pedro Neto, that age bracket wins you silverware. Look, Yeremi Pino, unless it's a 19-year-old who is absolutely very special, I don't think Yeremi Pino is absolutely very special. He's okay. He's a very, very, very fine player, very fine boy. But is he absolutely very special? Is he a Messi? I don't see him as a Messi. So, you want someone who's better than Pepe, and you want someone who's better than Reece Nelson. That is what we are looking for in this market. So for me, Yeremi Pino, love him, but I'm not really intrigued. Not absolutely intrigued. But also the other player that has been linked with Arsenal now is Pepe at FC Porto. He has a release clause of close to 70 million euros. Now Arsenal believe they can sign him for anything below that. Porto don't look like they want to sell. We've discussed this possibility of signing him. We discussed the possibility of signing him when we went in there to sign Fabio Vieira. But FC Porto look like they're unwilling to lose another player in this summer. But is another player that Arsenal are interested in? That one I will not waste a lot of time. It doesn't look like it will progress, not at least this summer. So Yeremi Pino is the player that has been on the, is the name that has been on the mouths of all publications. Headlines writing that Arsenal are very close to that deal. I don't believe, honestly, I honestly don't believe we are close to that deal. I also don't believe he's the player we will bring in. I think a winger will come, but not Yeremi Pino. I don't feel it will be Yeremi Pino. Now, in terms of outgoings, we have also tried to do quite a decent job. Alexander Runarsson finally will not be an Arsenal player anymore. He's going to be signing for a Turkish side that do not have, whose name have actually not been disclosed. So he will be signing for a Turkish side on a permanent deal. Earlier on, it was reported that Arsenal were willing to let him go on a loan deal with an option or obligation, but now it looks like he will be leaving the club permanently. Good business. This is very, very good business from Edu. Look, I don't even want to give Edu a lot of credit for letting Alexander Runarsson leave, because he bought him, and that is the worst piece of business we have seen under the sun. Runarsson, who was for me, if I could get the name of the scout that led us to signing Runarsson, I would definitely recommend the sacking later. 100%. You cannot do that. You cannot be that bad at your job. You really cannot be that bad at your job. So Runarsson has left the club. We've brought in Matt Turner. Carl Hayne has been promoted to the first team squad. And Aaron Ramsdale is now Arsenal's number one. He will be putting on that shirt number one. Runarsson behind us. Finally behind us. I hope that era of absolute disaster in transfers actually doesn't happen again. Runarsson out of the door. Lucas Torreira is also now confirmed as a new Galatasaray player, just like I reported. He's one of those that whose future has always been set in stone. He was never going to stay at Arsenal Football Club. I don't think Mikel Arteta appreciates him as a player. I don't think he's a bad one, but I don't think Mikel appreciates him. And also, I think he works better outside the Premier League. If he went back to Fiorentina, for me, he would be a happier man. That actually didn't happen. But finding a deal in Turkey, I don't think that's a bad one. Galatasaray is a big club. Yes, they are on their decline. I can't explain why, because I don't do really explanatory videos on clubs. But I've done a couple of I've read a couple of articles on Galatasaray and their kind of downfall. But him going there, I think, is the end. Permanent deal. So Lucas Torreira no longer an Arsenal player. Hector Bellerin's move will be confirmed very, very soon as well in the next few hours. He's going to be leaving Arsenal. There is still debate whether he leaves as a free agent or he leaves with Arsenal pocketing a few coins. Now, Arsenal met with the representatives of the player. They've made it very clear that they want something. We need something little. At least maybe 10, maybe 5, maybe 7 million euros for Hector Bellerin. Real Betis do not want to pay anything for the player, and that is why we are still struggling to keep him out of the squad. But in my opinion, that is also a matter of hours away. Then I think we are also very close to agreeing a deal for Pablo Mari. FC Monza in Italy have been keeping very, very close tabs on him. I think he will finally go there. According to Fabrizio Romano, actually, Arsenal will receive around 6 to 7 million euros in terms of, I don't know if it's going to be even a bonus or some kind of, because for me, 6-7 million euros for Pablo Mari. Should have sold him earlier, but they will take him on a season-long loan deal, and the option to buy him will be around 5 to 6 million euros. So they will sign him on a permanent. So around the club at the moment, that is what is happening. Yeremi Pino, the key headline, but I do not think Arsenal are as close as caught offside actually depicting that story. Catch us on 90 more on a daily basis. 2 uploads are there for you on YouTube, and of course you will be able to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and of course don't forget the platform, always YouTube.